Welcome back, folks. I'm Lloyd Purvis, and this the lugged outsole is coated in Asics grip rubber. Welcome back to the channel, folks. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. If you haven't come across the channel before, well, welcome and thanks for watching. And if you like what you see, why not subscribe to the channel by hitting that button just down there and come along and join the Run4Adventure family. But don't forget to hit that bell icon as well, super important, so you get notified when we upload any new running related content. Really hope you enjoyed our last video where we looked at some of the standout road running shoes of 2021. But in this video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the exciting new trail running shoes that are going to be hitting the shelves this year. The first brand we're going to take a look at is a brand that's known for innovation development, and they spend a fortune on R&D when it comes to their trail running equipment. Salomon is a brand I know really well, having spent the first 5 or 6 years of my trail running only running in their shoes. Over the years, I've kind of moved away from the brand and spent less time in their shoes and more time in lots of different brands of trail running shoes, but really excited to get my feet inside a pair of Salomon's new Sense Ride 4s when they're released in the UK. I've always been a big fan of the versatility of the Sense Ride shoe, and it's actually become one of Salomon's biggest selling shoes within their trail running range. The updates to the new version of the shoe include a redesigned heel collar, which will incorporate a bit more padding, but also a bit more hold and support in the back end of the shoe. There's also going to be a bit more structure worked into the midfoot of that upper, just to give the runner a nice, precise lockdown. But the biggest changes to the Sense Ride 4 are going to be made when it comes to the midsole of the shoe, which I think is a really good thing. With the running shoe industry getting softer and softer, I really do feel that a lot of them Salomon shoes are starting to feel a little bit firm underfoot. So Salomon are going to be adding Optivibe foam to the midsole of the Sense Ride 4. This is currently a compound they use within their road running range. It's designed to absorb vibrations to decrease muscle fatigue while offering a soft and comfortable and responsive ride on a big mix of different terrains. The shoe will still come with a full Salomon Contour Grip outsole, and it will still have Salomon's decoupled rock plate worked into the midsole of the shoe, just to offer your feet a bit of protection from sharp rocks but without compromising flexibility. The Sense Ride 4 also comes in a great black and red colour, and the shoe really does look amazing in this colourway, and it actually looks and feels very similar to the original S-Lab Ultra shoe. This was a standout shoe for the Salomon brand and probably their best selling S-Lab shoe of all time. It was also a shoe that made a lot of trail runners very unhappy when Salomon stopped making it. The new version of the Sense Ride should release in the UK early spring, and it's going to retail for around £120. The next two shoes come from Brooks Running, a super popular brand that makes some really solid shoes, but I really feel that their trail running range is kind of missing something. So the first shoe we're going to look at is not actually a new shoe this year. It was available last year, but it was a shoe we really wanted to get and test, but we never got round to it. So it is Brooks's Catamount trail shoe. I personally think this is the missing link within their trail range, so we're definitely going to get hold of a pair this year and we're going to give them a thorough testing. The Catamount from Brooks is their sort of lightweight, more responsive, grippy trail running shoe, weighing in at 269 grams in a men's shoe and only 249 in a women's shoe. It also utilises a full midsole featuring Brooks's new nitrogen infused compound DNA Flash, which is there to offer the runner an ultralight level of cushioning with adaptive energy return. The outsole is coated in their sticky trail track rubber, and it also has a redesigned ballistic rock shield worked into the forefoot of the shoe. This is there just to offer a bit more underfoot protection to the runner from sharp stones or roots sticking out of the ground, but without applying any stiffness to the midsole. The level of grip on the Catamount, I'd say, is more suited to sort of spring, summer, autumn running, so we will be getting a pair of the shoes a bit later in the year and giving them a thorough testing. It is a current shoe, so it's available now in the UK, and it retails for £140. Next up from Brooks is a shoe that I'm really excited to talk about, and I never thought I would say that about a Brooks Cascadia. The Cascadia was actually my first ever trail running shoe many years ago. Now, it's not a terrible shoe, but it's not a shoe that I look at and I get excited about going out and running on technical trails in. I'd kind of call it a good, solid, reliable trail shoe. But this is all about to change because the Cascadia 16 has just gone through a massive update and it is looking great. You could easily be mistaken for thinking it is actually a Hoka trail running shoe, like a lot of running shoes these days. The new version of the shoe now runs off a much deeper midsole made from Brooks's new DNA Loft V2 compound, which is lighter and softer than ever before. It's actually 2mm deeper when it comes to the cushioning in the shoe. You've got an updated ballistic rock shield worked into the forefoot of the shoe that now has vertical grooves, so that it makes the shoe a lot more adaptable with side to side movement. The outsole of the shoe has a much deeper and more aggressive lug pattern, so it should handle them muddy conditions better than previous versions of the shoe, so great for British trail runners. And that outsole is still coated in Brooks's Trail Track rubber. The new Cascadia will run off an 8mm offset, and weight wise it's going to weigh in at 298 grams in a men's shoe and 269 grams in a women's shoe. I'd love to show you some pictures, but unfortunately the shoe isn't going to be available in the UK until the 1st of August. But what I will say is Brooks have done a fantastic job on this shoe. I think it's going to run really well and it looks fantastic. So it's definitely one to look out for in 2021. But unfortunately, guys, you're going to have to be patient when it comes to the Brooks Cascadia 16. So moving on to a trail running shoe from Nike Trail, and I've always been very disappointed with Nike's trail running department, especially when it comes to British winter conditions. So I'm hoping the next trail shoe up will handle them a lot better than previous Nike trail running shoes I've tested and reviewed on the channel, and it is Nike's new Terrakiga 7. There's only been a few subtle tweaks to the upper of the new shoe to increase a bit of breathability, but the biggest changes have come when it comes down to the midsole of the new shoe. The Terrakiga 7 still utilizes a full Nike React midsole with an integrated rock plate worked into the shoe, just to offer you a bit of underfoot protection against rough terrain. But the biggest change to that midsole is that air zoom unit that used to feature in the heel of the shoe has now been moved to the forefoot of the shoe. So it offers you a much more responsive ride and higher levels of energy return when you're hitting the trails. Other big changes to the shoe are when it comes down to level of grip and traction from the outsole, which can only be a good thing. I've spent quite a lot of time running with a few guys that spend time out on the trails in the Terrakiga 5 or the Terrakiga 6, and if I'm honest, I used to spend most of my time watching them slip and fall over, especially in wet conditions. So any added traction to this shoe can only improve performance. So Nike have actually extended the forefoot outsole so that it now covers a lot more of that exposed midfoot, and the lug has been made a bit deeper and a bit more aggressive in shape, especially on the heel of that outsole. The shoe still runs off a 4mm offset on the heel, and it's going to weigh in around 285 grams in a men's shoe. It should be available around February-March time, and it's going to retail for around £115 in the UK. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed for this one, guys, that we're actually going to have a Nike trail shoe that can handle wet British conditions. Next brand up on our trail running shoes to look out for in 2021 comes from a brand that I've actually never used for my trail running shoes. I've always thought their trail running shoes look like a bit of an afterthought, and they used to always give all their attention and focus to their road shoes. But like their road shoes, their trail shoes have gone through loads of development in 2020, and some of them are looking really exciting this year. So it is Asics, and it is their Gel Trabuco 9. This trail running shoe has just hit the shops in 2021, but it's been completely redesigned when you compare it to the previous version of the shoe. It is designed to be a multi-terrain shoe that can tackle any surface with ease. After its development, it is now 30 grams lighter, so a much lighter and more responsive trail running shoe than previous versions. The midsole of the shoe uses Asics Flight Foam compound coupled with their gel technology in the back end of the shoe, just to soak up a bit of impact while we're running downhill. The shoe is also equipped with a Dynamax support system to give you a more planted and stable ride. The lugged outsole is coated in Asics grip rubber, while incorporating an uphill-downhill lug pattern on the medial and lateral side of the shoe to offer more traction on slippy terrain. The Gel Trabuco 9 also has the added addition of a flexible rock plate worked into the midsole of the shoe. This is just there to shield the foot from any rough terrain or trail debris. The shoe runs off an 8mm offset, and it weighs in at 300 grams in a men's shoe and 260 grams in a women's. It is available in the UK now and it retails at £120. Asics also do a maxed cushion version of this shoe, the Gel Trabuco Max, which retails at £145. The last brand to feature on our list for 2021, and I personally think we've saved the best till last, is Saucony. And there is some great updates to current models, but there's also some super exciting new models coming to their trail range. So let's dive straight in. First up, when it comes to trail shoes from Saucony, is actually an update of a shoe that a lot of viewers of the channel were really happy with last year, and it is their new Exodus 11. This model from Saucony is kind of like a beefed up Peregrine, and we all know how I feel about the Peregrine, but we'll get onto that in a minute. I've always found the Exodus to be, a bit bulky, a bit clumsy, a bit clumpy to run in, but now it's been updated to that lighter upper. Now it's got that full Power Run Plus midsole, which I am a massive fan of. This is definitely a shoe we're going to get at the channel. We're going to test and review in 2021. Now, I wouldn't say this is a lightweight trail running shoe by any means, still weighing in at 337 grams in a men's shoe and 299 grams in a ladies. It still runs off a 4mm offset on the heel, and that deeply lugged aggressive outsole is still coated in that brilliant Power Track sticky rubber from Saucony, so offering lots of control and traction on any terrain. The shoe should be available from the 1st of the 4th, and it is going to retail at £140. Next up from Saucony is a shoe I am super excited to get on my feet and get out running in, but if I'm honest, I'm also a little bit worried because the Peregrine 10 was a standout trail running shoe for me and for so many others, so I'm just hoping the new version of the shoe runs the same. The Peregrine 11 has only had a subtle update, so it should run very similar to the previous version of the shoe. The midsole and the outsole of the new Peregrine 11 pretty much stay the same, so the shoe still runs off that rock-plated full Power Run compound midsole. It still has that 5mm aggressive lug pattern, and the outsole is still coated in Saucony's Power Track rubber to offer that brilliant level of traction on any surface. The shoe will still run off a 4mm heel offset, and it is going to weigh in a men's shoe at 310 grams, so it has gained a bit of weight, which is always disappointing. The shoe should be available from the 1st of Feb this year, and it is going to retail in the UK at £115. The biggest changes to this great trail running shoe come down to the upper construction and the materials used. So the shoe now carries this new lightweight, durable top layer, which adds durability to the air mesh booty construction, offering a high level of comfort and midfoot lockdown. There's also been a few overlays added around that toe box area, and Saucony have slightly changed the heel pull tab, but I am really glad to see that there's only been subtle changes made to this shoe, so it should still be a great performing trail shoe. It's going to be available in 3 colorway options, and it should be in the shops very soon, coming out in the UK on the 1st of Feb. Right, last up from Saucony when it comes to their trail running shoes of 2021, and I'm sure this is going to be one of the most hyped trail running shoes of the year, and it is the exciting Endorphin Trail. Now, when I first heard of this shoe being developed, I was a little bit unsure about the whole thing. I actually thought it was just Saucony trying to make the most of all the hype surrounding their brilliant Endorphin range. I was also a little bit concerned to how a full Power Run PB midsole would handle the undulating technical trail terrain. Having spent a fair bit of time in my pair of Endorphin Speeds, I know that midsole isn't the most stable platform in the world, but having seen the new Endorphin Trail and put it on my foot, I can definitely say that that is not the case. What Saucony have done with that full Power Run PB midsole to make it a lot more stable in a trail environment is super clever. Now, this shoe isn't going to be available in the UK until mid-June, so I'm not going to give away all of Saucony's secrets or show you any detailed pictures of the shoe, but what I can tell you about the shoe is it is going to run off a full Power Run PB midsole. It's also going to have Saucony's brilliant speed roll technology worked into that midsole, so very similar to the Endorphin Pro and the Endorphin Speed. The shoe, however, will not incorporate a plate into the midsole like their road shoes, but it will run off a 4mm offset on the heel. When it comes down to the outsole of the shoe, it is very similar to the outsole on the Peregrine 11, so it's got a nice 5mm lug, an aggressive multi-directional pattern, and that outsole is all coated in the brilliant Saucony Power Track rubber. When it comes down to weight of the shoe, it's going to weigh in at 295 grams in a men's and 255 grams in a women's, and it will retail in the UK at £155. The Endorphin Trail is a very exciting addition to the already great trail running shoes that Saucony offer, and it's definitely going to be one of the standout trail shoes of 2021. All 3 trail shoes from Saucony that I've mentioned are going to be available at both PB running stores down here in Cornwall. So that is a small selection of the shoes that we think are really going to stand out this year, and some of the shoes we're really excited to get hold of and test and review at Run4Adventure. There are a few other shoes just to mention really quickly, the first being the very controversial, the North Face Flight Vective. This is going to be one of the first carbon plated trail shoes that are going to be available to the public, and it's definitely going to be a super hype shoe this year. I personally think the whole running world has gone a little bit carbon plate crazy at the moment, and I'm not convinced a carbon plated trail shoe will work that well, especially in a technical trail environment. Also arriving this year should be the new Hoka One One Speedgoat 5 and the new Wild Cross 2 from Salomon, but we also want to spend a big part of this year reviewing trail running shoes from brands that haven't featured on the channel before. So brands like Adidas, Innovate, VJ and Icebug, so hopefully we'll get some shoes from them guys as well. But that is a wrap on our trail running shoes for 2021 video. Really hope you enjoyed it, guys. Hope you found it useful. If you did, don't forget, give us a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel out, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But don't forget, hit that bell icon. Really important to hit that bell so you get notified when we upload any new content. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the shoes that we've picked out on our list, but we'd also love to hear all about the trail running shoes you're excited about this year. So let us know in the comments below. Don't forget, you can follow us on our other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook or Strava. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. It's really appreciated. We will see you in the next video, and as always, stay safe and keep on running.